Hello everyone, my name is Christian. Welcome to my hobby blog. Today we are doing the the third review. Maybe second. Nope, the third one, because the first one was Incredible Melting Man, and then Birds 2, and now we're on this double feature. This is the third review of the Vinegar Syndrome August 2022 package. I'm very excited to discuss this today. This ended up becoming a much better double feature than I thought it would be. So first and foremost, what I'm going to be talking about today are two films from the 1970s. The first one is from 76, and then the second one is from 74. The first one, of course, is Hot Snake, directed by Fernando Duran Rojas. And then the second movie is Guns and Guts, directed by Rene Cardona Jr. So this was the double feature that I talked about on my unboxing video, how I was a little suspicious of it, because it was the film is directed by Rene Cardona, who is somebody that I've only seen one film from the triple feature volume 1 set that Vinegar Syndrome has already done, and I did not like the first one, and I actually gave up on the set. I'm happy to say that I'm going to revisit it now because wow, just a lot of thoughts here, but just to kind of give my impressions of both films kind of at the same time, because both of them are very not standard, but very tropey and not in a bad way westerns. Lone gunmen having to hunt down gold, or somebody terrorizing a town and someone has to come in and save the town. The other one is another trope that is kind of done in these films, is bad guys teaming up together to defeat a bigger bad guy. And then, of course, the bandits versus the sheriffs type of plot line. It's all covered here, and it's lovely. The first movie that I watched in this double feature is from 76. It is Hot Snake by Fernando Duran Rojas. And I loved this one a lot. This one was a lot more, I guess, sensical. It is shot in Spanish, which is very nice because the other movie by Cardona is shot in English, which there's a reason for that, which I'll discuss later. But I loved the setting of Hot Snake because the town is called Hot Snake. And not just because of that, but it's a town that is isolated from the rest of the world in the sense that you have to pass like a valley of snakes, and there's a lot of not good scenes to watch where actual snakes are killed on screen, and there's a lot of on-screen animal deaths in this movie, which I wasn't particularly happy with, but at least they ate them, because after each snake kill, they would go and collect the snakes and then skin them on camera. They would rip out the guts, and then they impaled it through a stick and then cooked them over a fire, which I think is probably the most sort of in-depth cooking scene that I've seen in a Western movie. I've never seen somebody go into such detail about preparing a meal in a movie before, at least in a Western movie. But just to kind of go off my letterbox to keep me structured in my reactions of this, this movie is very epic. There's many set pieces of them having to go back and forth. There are a lot of characters, a lot of villains, a lot of heroes, and they go back and forth. Villains are killed like within minutes of them being introduced, and it's quite amazing. I really enjoyed Hot Snake. Although, and this is not a knock at all towards the movie, but one thing I was not expecting was a horse sex scene. It first of its kind, I guess, for me. First time I've seen a film like this, where we have an entire scene about two horses fucking. And you can see the horse boner and everything, and you can see it enter the other horse. And then, while this is happening, our main character is sitting there, like, watching, just looking at the horses having sex. And then I'm sorry. I'm pet sitting this weekend, so I apologize if the cats are being weird. During the scene where he's... Stop it! I should have recorded this somewhere else, but, you know, oh well. During the scene, he's just looking on, and we get a pretty awkward scene that I would like to think that it is, it is connected. I can't get over the cat. He's watching the horses go at it, and he's having a sort of memory of him shooting his gun for the first time. I'm also being a bit immature with these two scenes because he walks in on a man quite drunk and totally just head on the table, bottles around him of rum and whiskey and, you know, whatever other Western drinks that they drank. And there's a woman there with him, probably his mistress or a maid of the tavern. And our character who's watching the horses walk in. And this is sort of like a memory thing. And it's the first time he's ever shot his gun. And the euphemism was not lost on me. Because he's walking around and he sees the gun. And he walks in with the tray of drinks, sets it down, and he's starting to walk out. And then he just picks up the gun and is fiddling with it. And then he shoots it. I don't know if that's supposed to be like a premature ejaculation or not, because we go right back to the horse sex scene, and it was not what I was ready for. It was a really awkward scene for me, and I had a big old laugh at that. I don't know what the director was intending having that scene, because it is quite separate from the main storyline. It's not like it was his horse and like somebody else's horse. He was just traveling on his own horse and saw this and took a second to watch this scene, and it just kind of wowed me in a way. So I really enjoyed this movie a lot. You have that classic twangy guitar sort of music playing throughout the movie. You have really awesome cinematography throughout. You have very large landscapes, and both of these films were made in Mexico. So you really get a more specific type of landscape. The soil looks different. The mountains look different. You see ruins of old like temples and such that some of the characters go to, and they even talk to a Mexican like priestess. I don't know what sort of role that she played, but she gives our main character prophecies and tells him, be careful of a day with 2 nights. And he's like, what does that mean? Or a night with 2 days, I believe. No, it's 1 day with 2 nights, that's right. And he's like, that's weird. And then the scene where that pays off is probably one of my favorite scenes. You sort of get this really surreal, bizarre, great just scene. It's like it was made by Alejandro Jodorowsky, who is another Mexican director from this time. And they really play with the exposure settings during the scene, where it gets really trippy looking. And during this entire movie, our main character ends up killing somebody, and his ghost just follows him throughout his entire journey. And it's really awesome. I really enjoyed this movie. And there's some really great visuals throughout, and not just horses fucking, but there's a lot more to this movie than I was expecting. And I've heard of this director before, so I kind of knew going in that it would at least be really good, but I didn't think it would be that good. And also, I just noticed here, there's the awesome shot from the movie where the 2 nights and a day happened. I love it. And there's the, down here on the bottom, there's the priestesses, like totems, and, I guess fetishes. not in the sexual manner, but the sort of doctor way, or old medicine way. The other film in this package is, of course, the Rene Cardona Jr. film, Guns and Guts. This movie was awesome. I really enjoyed this one. I feel bad for giving Rene Cardona no chance after watching just one of his films. This one was just as epic, but there was a lot more humor, I think. We get a fight right at the beginning between our three main characters, well, actually, two of our main characters. The third one is met later on. And I did read the synopsis to both of these films in the unboxing video, so if you don't know what these films are about, go check that out. I'm just giving kind of recollections of what I remember over the plot, but we get a fight just like the fight between Roddy Piper and Keith David from They Live in this movie. And it is so awesome. They are grabbing chairs in the saloon, shattering them, punching each other in the dick, breaking windows. The innkeeper at one point comes out with a shotgun. He's like, "Ah, guys, you guys are done." And one of the bandits just grabs a shotgun and nods to them to continue fighting. It is so awesome. This entire movie is like that. They're just constant fighting. And it is so just awesome. I really enjoyed this movie. The storyline was not as clear to me while watching it. It just felt like a collection of scenes happening. And I was okay with it. I was absolutely okay with it. This is definitely a movie where you watch it on a Sunday afternoon. Although I watched this just now on Saturday afternoon, late afternoon. And I fucking loved it. I really enjoyed it. But the big thing to know about this movie is that it is a English-speaking movie. It was recorded in English. And I guess this is sort of my cue to begin talking about the one supplement on this release. That's my slight nitpick that I have about this release, is that there's just one interview with the son of Rene Cardona. And he is Rene Cardona III. And this was recorded quite recently, from what I know and from what I could observe in the sort of the quality of the cameras that were being recorded for the interview. It wasn't like for the Jess Franco interview where it was obviously recorded in the early 2000s. This one was quite recent, within definitely the last decade, if not 5 years. But apparently the producer for this film was somebody who represented Warner Bros. Or Warner Brothers, but in Mexico. I guess they had a branch in Mexico. And this producer for this film was working with them. And they really wanted a Western. And they wanted one that wasn't explicitly like an American one, nor a Italian one. They wanted a strictly Mexican Western film. And so Cardona agreed to do it, and then he sort of just made the movie and tried to put in a lot of sort of Mexican flair throughout. So I'm not as familiar with Mexican culture as, Japanese culture, for example, because I've just seen so many more Japanese films, but this movie is wonderful. There are a lot of great set pieces throughout that I think really take advantage of the landscapes in Mexico. And I guess that happened too for the first film, Guns and Smoke, whatever it's called. Guns and Guts. No, Hot Snake. That's what it's called. And he was growing up while they were filming this movie, and he was talking about how all the actors were over 6 feet tall. And he said that they were all just very nice. The entire film crew was like a family, is what he was talking about. And he said that this movie was heavily inspired by Sam Peckinpah, which there was one sentence that made me laugh when I was reading the I guess the synopsis for the unboxing video. it says that Guns and Guts is a rough and tumble western with an explosively bloody ending that rivals anything created by Sam Peckinpah, which I thought was a very, like, direct, I guess, claim. And it ends up that Sam Peckinpah and Renee Cardona were very good friends. The Cardona family and the Peckinpah family are still talking today to each other and very good friends. Renee Cardona III was talking about how he's like best friends with Sam Peckinpah's daughter, and how they're still working together to make films. So that really surprised me, because I haven't seen many Sam Peckinpah films. My favorite that I've seen so far is, of course, Straw Dogs, which has been released by Criterion. So if you want to watch that, go watch that. I haven't seen many others, but The Wild Bunch is a Western, from what I know. And that one was made around the same time as, I guess, Guns and Guts. I keep forgetting the name of these titles. But, earlier I talked about how it was recorded in English, and there was a reason for that. And the reason is that this was made to release in the United States. And so that's what they did. And then when it came time to release the film in Mexico, they just dubbed it all. So it was very bizarre, actually, because the first movie, Hot Snake, is in Spanish, but you can tell it's definitely recorded with on-set dialogue. But for Guns and Guts, it felt like an Italian movie with the dubbing, and it was very surprising to me that they said that they used on-set audio, because I did not catch that at all. I just thought they were dubbing it, and when he said that in the interview, I was like, oh. It's like, I don't know why I got the impression that it was dubbing, but that was nice that he cleared that up. Apparently they didn't have enough money to actually make the towns that are in the movie, because there's quite a number of towns that they visit, and they have fights there, of course. And then, of course, the final fight in the movie is in a big town with, dozens of people fighting. They use a Gatling gun. It's epic. It's a lovely ending, as they say on the back of the box, that rivals anything by Sam Peckinpah. The way that they were able to kind of skirt around that, of having no budget to make individual towns, is what they would do is that they would take the production van, the makeup van, the actors' vans, all these different types of vans, and make a giant square. And they would put up canvas sort of tops. And basically when they wanted to film a scene for one town, they would just go to that side of the square and shoot right there. And then they were like, okay, we gotta go film this scene. So they would like go around the corner, literally, and then go film that scene. And I thought that was such a genius little trick in terms of making the movie within the budget. So that was a really cool fact that I learned during the interview with him. And this is a really quick interview. It was 15 minutes long. And you compare that to the Jess Franco double feature, where the Jess Franco interview is an hour long, or 45 minutes at the least. And then the Stephen Thrower one is an hour long. So you get a lot more sort of insight into both of those films. That's why I really loved that double feature. But this one just has a 15-minute interview, and I was really sort of disappointed by that. But the last thing that I wanted to sort of mention is that this movie was made after another Renee Cardona film called Robinson Crusoe, which is somebody who I did not know anything about. I looked him up beforehand because I know there's a Robin Crusoe film within the Criterion collection. And I was like, wait, does Renee Cardona have a Criterion release? And I looked it up, and it ends up that Robinson Crusoe is like a Django type of person, or character that has many spin-offs. And one of them was directed by Renee Cardona back in 1970. And this movie was 74, I believe. I'll double check real quick. Yes, 74. So took a few years for them to make this movie, but I think it turned out very well. The Sun agrees that this is probably his best film. so far of the two movies I've seen, I agree wholeheartedly. I definitely think this is his best film. I think it'll be very hard to top, but I loved this double feature. I watched them both back to back today. I guess in between feeding them lunch and then dinner, and then I sat in here to do the review. But I highly, highly recommend this set if you don't have it already. This is, I guess, the time for me to answer the question that I always answer at the end of these reviews, which is, would I have bought this had I not had the subscription? Yes, I would have. I would have been a little concerned seeing Renee Cardona's name on it, but I would have bought it anyways because so far I've really enjoyed the Western genre and I'm on a Western kick. So at the minimum, I would have waited for a sale to get this, and I think this is worth the price of the non-sale price. So this is the double feature Hot Snake and Guns and Guts. Both lovely movies. Very great afternoon I've had binging these. But again, I don't think this will be my favorite release, judging off of how the Forgotten Jolly box set is going to go. But I really wish there was more supplements on this. Right now it's just one interview that's 15 minutes long. I would have enjoyed a commentary track, maybe with the Sun, or even just a documentary talking about both movies and, anything. So I think that's it. I don't want to bother the cat too much anymore. So thank you all so much for watching, and please let me know what you think of this double set if you've seen it. And if not, I hope you guys get it because this is a really great set. Have a great rest of the weekend.